LongLiveJunto live stream. This is going to be our first go at it. We're just pretty much a group of good friends that have known each other for a good long time, and we're coming together. We all kind of have the same goals in life, just overall be better people, and we all really relate to each other, especially in a world right now where it feels kind of dark. Really our message and our goal is to just bring a lot of positivity and personal growth and kind of talk about all those things. These Friday chats are really everybody kind of coming together and doing, it's us coming together and talking about our weeks and bringing some segments that make it fun and also memorable, but also gives people this feeling of like, hey, you're with some good friends for the week, and we hope that, for our followers that, when you guys are watching, that you feel like you're part of this group. Like, we want you guys to feel like, you're part of Junto, and we hope that what Junto means to you means to what it means to us, and that's about personal growth and just overall being better people. I'm gonna go by Beef. Freelance Beef is my Twitch name, but Beef is what the group's gonna be calling me. One of the things that we always gonna start with every Friday night segment is really going over how our week was. We forget to talk about our weeks a lot of the times and what that means to us. Sometimes we let the weeks go by and it's just mundane, or it doesn't mean anything to us, or sometimes it was hellish and you don't reflect on it and how can you make your life better, or how can you look at the blessings in your life, and that's really what these moments are about, is each one of us will kind of go over that piece of the segment, talk about that time period and what it means to us, and the beauty is to show is transparency, vulnerability. All of us will show parts of ourselves that, to each other, and hopefully that, you think about your life at home and how you can do that with your loved ones and people that really matter to you, or just yourself, if you have to look in the mirror and just accept certain things. I'm going to be handing off soon, but one of the things on top of us talking about our weeks is really, like I had talked about what Junto meant to me, is what Junto is going to mean to our teammates here. And the cool thing about LongLiveJunto is it's going to have a different meaning for everybody, and just the name itself can be just a mindset of being a better person, and whether it's to people in your life or just to yourself, but it's a subjective meaning, and each teach their own. So I'm going to be handing off to a good teammate, one of my good friends, Goichi. I gotta learn how to say my friend's name, my friend's gamer tag name. But I'm handing off to Goichi to kind of kick us off.
Let's hold the mic. Okay. Just make sure that we can hear people.
All right. Hi everyone. This is Goichi. Some of you may know me from playing CS:GO back in the day, Rust Legacy, and a couple other FPS games. But I just want to give myself an introduction to the stream and say hello and welcome everyone to our Twitch channel. We're just kicking this off and just trying new things and testing things out. But really what LongLiveJunto means to me is it's kind of like a safe space where we can be ourselves, and instead of just keeping it confined within our circle of having really deep conversations, we want to expand that out to the world and kind of see what everyone else's perspective is. Especially during the pandemic, everyone's at home and kind of stuck within their own confines and thoughts. And, we just want to bring positivity, and it's helping us in our own personal lives as well. I mean, this week, for the past couple weeks, work has been a bit stressful, and it's kind of just going through the motions at this point. And I wanted to do something where I'm more passionate about. And I have the opportunity to do a side gig with my buddies and grow it into something organic and hopefully success. And that's really the goal here, is to just feed good vibes, just reach out to the people and have great conversations amongst my buddies, and just grow the channel. And we're going to be doing different types of streams. There's no rhyme or reason to really anything. It's just to kind of just be open and vulnerable, like my buddy Beef was saying. So what I'll do now is I'll pass it on to one of my other buddies. We like to call him Coach. Coach?
Yeah, Coach. Let's go.
I still can't get over calling you Beef. By the way, it just sounds great. Yeah. Let's.
Yeah, I've called
Yeah.
you Beef for too long.
Yeah.
It's natural.
Your wife must be proud of that.
Keep her out of it.
But no, I'm gonna go by Coach. That's pretty fitting since I am a coach. But for me, I'll start off by saying like what Junto means for me or what it is for me. Kind of like the main thing is that I have an avenue to hang out with my friends now that I'm not living in the same city or the same county as you guys. So I do live far away now. I moved away to the Midwest where the weather's not the same. So Junto for me is the ability to still hang out with you guys and share our ideas, share our stories, share all of our interests, because I know we all come from different backgrounds in terms of things that we're interested in, or we got into things at different different times. We all have similar interests, but I think there's definitely things where one of us got into it first, and we all kind of thought about it, or we wanted to get into it, and then we've all kind of brought each other along in like certain different aspects, whether it's hiking, whether it's like the world of like going shooting at the range and trying to be like marksman, or just trying to like do different things like tech wise, gaming wise. I love to play video games, but I'm not as good as Goichi or Nitemare here in terms of streaming my stuff. But this is an avenue for us to get together and actually talk and have some intellectual stuff where like once a week we have time as friends where we get together. Even though I'm not always going to be physically present, I'll still be able to get on there video wise and hang out with you guys. But for me, my week's been good. It's been spring break for me. So being back here in California has been great, and enjoying some good weather, I guess. It's been snowing and hailing in some, or not snowing, raining and hailing in some parts. But it's the weather got nice back home right as I left, and then it was nice coming here. But it's nice to be like close to the beach. It's nice to be close to you guys and be close to family and see friends and stuff that I haven't seen for about 2 months now, which is definitely a change of pace from how I grew up with being with family almost every day, seeing you guys almost whenever I want to, regardless of our schedules. One of the three of us would be hanging out with somebody at some point, and so like that schedule has been changed because of my pursuit of my career. So it's kind of nice. But yeah, the week's been good. It sucks that it's coming to an end, and it sucks that I'll be flying home tomorrow, it seems like, because of Denver getting shellacked by some snow. But yeah, it's been a good week to see you guys, and I'm sad to see it end. But summer's around the corner, and hopefully I'll be back for that, and I'll be able to enjoy some time with you guys after that. So, but I think that the fourth member of our team here is going to be Nitemare, and he's going to tell you guys about his week right now.
Let's go. Oh, hello. I go by Nightmare Fuel on Twitch. These are some of my best buddies. Like, I've known Beef here the longest. We've
42 years.
Yeah.
You guys aged well.
42 years.
God. Don't we look great?
Yeah.
We look great, don't we? Yeah, my week's been good. It's been a new different kind of stress, getting content out and editing and communicating with the guys about what they want in their, what their vision is for what they want this to be. And I really want this to be us. It's just like a really chill session of just chatting and catching up and growing up, being adults and having careers and moving out of state for Coach here. We don't get to hang out as much. Like, people lose touch, and we don't want that to happen. So I think that's what Junto is to me. It's keeping in touch, and it's touching base. It's making sure everyone's doing good and being healthy, and especially in these times where people aren't hanging out and aren't communicating and just holding stuff in and being resentful. And we want to promote communication and not being resentful and being open. So that's what Junto is to me. I'm gonna pass it back to you, Beef. Let's move. Let's keep it. Let's get this going. What do we got?
I'll touch. Do it.
Yeah. What do you want? You want to hold it?
Yeah. I want to hold the.
Yeah.
I want to hold want to hold it.
It's the Grail.
So the last thing I'll say is just because for my week, as we talked about personal growth, that's something about Junto that we want to share, and vulnerability, like I had said earlier. I'm personally I've been going to therapy. Mental health in our era, in our generation, seems like it's more discussed. But one of the things that when it comes to like work and doing things in life, like it kind of comes natural to me to just kind of jump at things, to go at it. I kind of see it for what it is. I work hard. I understand it. I learn it. I move on. When it comes to the mental things, like being vulnerable, allowing myself not like my anxiety to take control of me. The mental side of it's not as easy. It's a lot more work. Never came natural to me, and it's been, like when I'm in therapy, it's really doing that. It's learning to do things for myself more than I'm just doing it for others, including my loved ones. I think when I'd gone to therapy in the past, my goal was to be a better person to my loved ones, but just loving myself is such a hard, and I think we all struggle with that, and that's what I'm going through right now. So this week, the last like couple weeks have been really hard because I'm really mindfully going at it all the time, journaling on my iPhone, talking about positivity, taking 5 seconds at certain points to when I want to be upset or let the anxiety kick in. I try to just relax and let it go. It's not easy for me. I'm not a very relaxed person. You guys will get a feel from that. I'm very intense, and being relaxed will never come easy to me by nature. But I think I need to find that relaxation. So for me, I look at like the last couple of weeks has been really good where I'm working on that. But work wise, it's kind of felt so. It's very different because we're Cali based, so it's very our lives are very like restricted in a way. We're in our homes a lot. I've been working from my home for more than a year now, which is crazy to me. So it really deprived me of a lot of things that I took for granted, being in an office, and so I feel those effects, and I do miss them dearly. But I do get to spend a lot more time with loved ones because of that. There's a lot more pros, and that's what therapy's helping me see those blessings rather than the negativity.
You started working from home before. When did you start working from home?
It was March of last year, right? It was March. Yeah, it was March.
St. Patrick's Day was the day that like restaurants got closed down to takeout only.
Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, so it's like St. Patty's is it, I guess. Yeah.
I think ours was March 25th. That's gonna be our 1 year to 2 weeks to slow spread.
It's crazy how fast the year went by.
Yeah.
To me, like I don't know about you guys, like I
was quarantined for 14 days before.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So.
Tell us what happened there. I didn't know that.
Okay, so before like COVID was really known across the world and people were talking to regularly on the news, I had a business trip up in San Jose, and we had no idea what was going on regarding COVID or people being affected by it. So after the convention, I flew back from San Jose down to Southern California, and we received an email notice that the San Jose airport was being quarantined, and they stressed to us that we should be quarantined for 14 days because 3 of the TSA members tested positive for COVID. And to me, at that time, I had no idea what that even was. And so I had to make my company aware of it. And from there, I was quarantined for 14 days to see if I had any side effects from COVID-19. And luckily, myself and my other colleagues who traveled with me, none of us were affected. But it was real when we found out there were people that were affected that went to the convention, and some people ended up actually not even surviving COVID, and they ended up passing away. And that's when it really became real for us, and we're like, wow, this is something that's probably going to affect the country, and we had no idea the effect it would have on the world. So I've been quarantined for quite a while and just working from home and trying to make the best of it. I've shifted from even working at a desk in a confined room with no windows, no light coming through, to sometimes working in a dining room table, having the windows open, sunlight coming in, taking breaks, walking my dog, and just trying to celebrate the small wins and just and try and be grateful. Every day I wake up, I try and be grateful for just waking up and breathing and having my arms, legs, hands, everything working, you know. So celebrating the small wins really helps me focus on the positive rather than dwell on the negative. So that's pretty much it.
Let's go with that. Let's go with something that you've been grateful for.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Let's just something you've been grateful for this past year, even though we've been locked down. Like, what's something that you've been grateful for? So, I'd say definitely being able to still have a job and have like-minded friends that will still be in communication and not, shrivel up with fear. That I feel like that's something that is. I'm really grateful for you guys. I'm gonna pass it over to Coach. See what you got.
I'd say I have like two things. I think that's hard to really choose one because of my experience during this. Is that I had like my own health scare that wasn't COVID related at the beginning of as soon as everything got shut down and people were running around. I had my own stuff going on. For like a week. Well, it ended up being for about 2.5 months, but yeah, I had that going on. So I'm thankful for like my health for one and foremost because, a lot of people like couldn't and still can't have stuff done that normally they would be able to get like medical procedures done or things have happened to them. It'd be easier to get doctor's appointments, it'd be easier to get in like check stuff that, isn't as fluid as it is now with like precautions in place, but I'd also say the ability to work because I was still working a little bit. I was actually teaching at university for a class, and I was able to finish the semester even though I was working from home and recovering. And then when we first opened up, I was able to go back actually to a restaurant job where I could make some money. And, thankfully everyone and their mom wanted to come back out and eat at a freaking restaurant after a while. So it was busy. And then when we got shut down again, I was still working because I worked hard and my bosses basically, allowed me to keep working because I showed up all the time and I didn't call out. And then it just kind of kept going through the fall or through the rest of summer when it got hot, when we were outdoor dining, through fall, through winter, and bled basically into this job. So like the ability to still have a job, like even now my job, like working with athletes, like I'm coaching and I'm doing a lot of stuff in the Midwest that coaches out here in California can't do. Like I get to work indoors, even if I get to wear masks. Like I still get to coach and stuff inside a weight room right now and work. Where like a lot of coaches out here like have to be outside or they're very limited on how many athletes they can work with. Mm-hmm. So it's just very different, like from California to the Midwest. So I think that's like probably one of my biggest things aside from health. But how about you, Beef?
Pass it over to Beef.
So I'll say that definitely loved ones. I'm very lucky to have a very loving wife. She's my best friend, and she really, especially for all of us, I felt like this year really tested everybody's mental game. Especially different, it tested in so many different ways. Like, you read online about people going through the crap they're going through where. Suicide rates up. Like that's a known thing. Like and people were struggling with this whole what was going on and what's still going on. And I think about like having a friend like that who can keep your spirits up when your judgment can be so clouded alone. Because being alone, like you should find a lot of peace in. But I felt like having such a loving partner that kept my mind in a good spot at all times. And I have to say my friends and my family, like they were the same compass in that way. Like, when things felt dark, it's like you can really fall back on those people. And, when so much in the world is almost unbelievable, like it almost feels like a dream or a nightmare, no pun intended, I feel like you just kind of sit there and you're like, wow, like I have some of the best people around me that mean so much to me. And, and you also think about like how you don't tell them, you think about like how often, we're around and we don't tell the people that we love, how much they mean and what, how much this year they really helped us. That's you guys like hand in hand, what each one of you, means to me. And so, yeah, I think like it's really simple. It's just family and family, friends and my partner. And I think, and I've got a puppy now, and I think he brought so much joy and peace in my life. So I'm very grateful for him.
In hopes.
All right, Goichi.
Goichi.
Goichi. Okay, Goichi.
Yeah, it's like go number 1 in Japanese.
Okay, go. So Goichi, I'm gonna pass off to, because I don't think we talked. You didn't get to yours, right?
Yeah, well, I kind of did.
Touched on it.
Yeah, but it's pretty much the same thing that everyone else said was, you appreciate the support. I think that's the biggest thing is, in a in a current world where we all kind of feel alone, if you can find that support, whether it's through friends, family, even online gaming. I mean, people think that, if you're an online gamer and all you do is game all the time, you're an introvert and you're not very open to people. But the cool thing about gaming and just being online, it allows people to be vulnerable and actually, like, in a sense, be themselves, because they are technically behind a screen, but it's about taking the steps to open up, right? And even if they're not showing their face or anything like that, if they're having real talks and they're being vulnerable, I mean, that's just one step closer to opening up and not being an introvert. And I think that the other thing too is, where there's like a lot of negativity and trolls in the internet world, there's also a lot of positivity. You just have to find it. You have to be willing to look for it in the right places. And it's a beautiful thing when you have a community or just a support system of friends online, who understand what you're going through and they can relate. And even if they can't relate, they're there to support you through thick and thin. I mean, I have relationships with people. One of my buddies out in Romania, I've known him for 7 years, and there's other people across the United States that I was a teenager and I grew up with them pretty much throughout the internet, and we've reconnected after 7-8 years of not gaming together. So yeah, the internet is a beautiful place, and I think that's really what we're trying to do here too, is just spread the positivity and the good vibes through our streaming, our social media platforms, and just getting everyone else's input, because we know we're not alone, but we're also, there's really not a platform where people are like, you can be open, you can be vulnerable, and they're having those open discussions. And so that's what we're trying to bring to everyone out in the world.
Kind of introduce the fact of where does Junto come from. Junto is Spanish for together, so this is only perfect that a bunch of friends are coming together to talk, game, play golf, play tennis, push each other in every way, to have discussions around all these personable things, personal growth, and all these things. So the word Junto is very beautiful in its own sense. It's Spanish for together. So where does Junto come from? Now, we didn't get it from Spanish. We got it from Benjamin Franklin. And back in the day, so a little while ago, Ben Franklin created a group. It was the Leather Apron Club, also known as Junto. And what this club was a lot of men of many traits. So a lot of Renaissance men, where they essentially came together and really just critically thought. And you think about like life a lot of times, and we have so many things telling us how to think, that we often forget to think about our own original thought. And even from the things that were shown, they have so much impact on our actual thoughts that the question is, did we really produce that thought, or is it just our experiences and the things that are fed into our mind? So Benjamin Franklin created this group with his friends and his colleagues all through his town. And essentially, again, it was the richest of the rich, the poorest of the poor. It didn't matter. It was just all these people that were into so many different things and brought so many different aspects of life. And when they came together for the first time, they were sworn in. They had to swear in. They had to say 4 statements, and for life they're bound to the Junto Club. And so for us, that's what LongLiveJunto is. It's about we are keeping that memory alive. The goal of it, about critically thinking. And with each meeting, which they would meet at weekend. You hear ends meet, so they'd meet at weekend, and they had a list of questions, very very template questions. And I think it was like 27, 28 questions that made you critically think, or made you think about life, it made you praise people. It made you kind of think of learning from people, and that's what we're going to be doing every every live stream podcast. Is essentially we're going to pick one question, and that's going to be used, and we're all going to kind of relate it to today's world. And sometimes the questions, they seem a little outdated, but really the goal is to make our group critically think, and hopefully as you're listening, you kind of think about it, and it helps you critically think on your own. And I'm gonna start it off. We all get to handpick the questions. So for the question today, because none of the guys have heard the question yet, so this is spitballing. They're gonna have to kind of think about it as they're going.
Oh boy.
Yeah, oh boy is right. Because we'll see. I mean, I just memorize the questions and then I literally just think all my answers and then I could just slate it in there. No, just kidding. All right, so here you go. So the question from the Junto Club was, do you know of any fellow citizen who has lately done a worthy action deserving praise or imitation? And I'm gonna hand it over to Goichi. I said it?
Yes.
I said it right. See, that deserves something. To go ahead and start it off. We'll do round the gauntlet, and then I'll finish it off from my point of view. So, do you want me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
The question was, you are the weakest link. No, I was kidding. The question was, do you know of any fellow citizen who has lately done a worthy action deserving praise or imitation? Can be public, can be private, can be whatever you want.
So for me, this is going to be an easy one. I would say it's Freelance Beef. For what he's done, and I would say he's, in my opinion, he's the foundation of what we're trying to build here and what we started off. Without his efforts, his hard work, his organization, and just staying on top of things for us, he's the backbone. He's pretty much, if we didn't have him, there would be no support. We'd just be a piece of skin on the ground, and I think you definitely deserve that award and the recognition that you put in the work, man, and without your help, we wouldn't be where we are today and producing this live stream. So yeah, it's people like that, you surround yourself around good people, but people who also push you out of your comfort zone. And that's really what these guys are for me. We all come from different types of backgrounds. We're raised differently in certain aspects, and it pushes me to be better and always kind of self-assess and just always want to grow, and surrounding yourself around people who challenge you but then also support you when you're winning in life. It's a beautiful thing, and it's something that I would say everyone should look for in their lives as well, because when you surround yourself around positive people, positive energy, good things happen to you. The universe just works in that way. So yeah, I would say my vote goes to you, man.
I want to add to that.
Okay.
I'm going to add to that, and I just want to say obviously thank you. We don't want to make this like a makeout session because I could do that,
Or do we?
but all the to that point, it's like everybody has put a ton of work into this, and I it's like everybody kind of has their own personality. Like I said, I'm a very tense person, so it takes a lot of good characters to understand that, and that's what this group understands. They understand that drive in me, but they also are so good at like playing with that drive, and it takes a really humbled group of men to be able, a group of people to really do that, and it's individually in this group. Everybody's hardworking. You guys have all put in great ideas and great concepts, and I really appreciate that, though. That means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to hand it over to Coach. He is one of the humble people I was talking about. Here you go, humble guy.
Thank you, sir. So since Goichi kind of took somebody that I want to recognize because I think that's true, but I'm going to go ahead and go the lighter route. I don't know this individual personally, mainly because I saw it on Instagram. But there was an individual at a Chick-fil-A drive-thru that basically opened up his driver door to just like flat back somebody that the cops were chasing. And so so the guy just like ate shit in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru, and like the cops were able to get him because the guy opened his door. So like kudos to that guy, because that's freaking awesome. I mean, it's just a giant truck door that the guy just like opens right on somebody.
Do you imagine imagine yourself in that shoes? Like, would you guys do that? Yeah, I would struggle with
if it was the company truck, maybe. If it was my personal truck, probably I'd be like, oh shit, my door was locked. I didn't know about that. Damn it, I hate when this happens. The kids were messing. Yeah,
get to the front of Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
like, oh, no, I gotta pay for my chicken tenders.
I'd be like, wow, I would have done it, except for I was next in line and I gotta go get some chicken nuggets.
Priorities.
But
chicken first.
Yeah, no, I like that because I was like, it was like one of those things where it's like, how often do you see someone being chased by the cops like that, just like in general, let alone like do you have like the wherewithal to like actually do something? I'm like, I don't know, maybe the cops were like, hey, maybe next time don't open your door, but I just thought it was like awesome they had it on the Chick-fil-A like camera where it's just like dude just opened his door and just like absolutely knocked that dude out, and
it's
the cops got him. So
like, you ever think about like Batman and like Vigilante?
Yeah.
Can you hear me pretty well? You ever think about like Batman and Vigilante? I mean,
Yeah.
He's on the with Batman and Vigilantes. Like, where's that line with cops in real life? Like, where are they going to be like, all right, you went a little too far on the on.
Well, it's like even in the movie, they're just like the group of dudes that like aren't Batman, but they're like pretending to be, and they're like, oh, we're just trying to help. And it's just like they end up like getting caught. And it's like they're in the parking
like
structure.
Yeah.
They're wearing like PJs and like a mask, like the Yeah, and they're just like, we're just trying to do a good thing. It's like, okay, cool, thanks. But
that seems like a thing we got to do Friday night.
Yeah, we go vigil. Yeah,
just dressed in our pantyhose.
Just go through random parking structures looking for drug deals that are going down.
Let's see how that works out.
Yeah, we're gonna shortly have less members in this group. we're gonna have less people to share this mic with after a while. But
around that much.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, I think Nitemare is it's gonna be Nightmare's turn since we got Chick-fil-A man and we got beef.
Oh man, Chick-fil-A and beef. I mean, can't ask for much more than that. Wow. I don't. I actually. I don't think I have. I haven't been. I mean, beef. You definitely are. You're like one of the only people I interact with a lot. So I think setting all this up and getting us motivated. The motivation I think is the most important thing. Is that you got us motivated to do this and get stuff done. So that's the only person I can think of right now. I haven't really interacted with a lot of people. I haven't seen a lot of things. I kind of keep to myself sometimes. So you're my motivation.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, having some technical difficulties. We'll move. I'll be moving the camera going forward.
Yeah, so imitation, sound wise, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, imitation wise, because I have to say, like, our team really, like, as much as we learn from everybody, like, on the team. Like I said, the whole thing about everybody. I think like the best teams are the ones that you have everybody that kind of brings something to the table in their own way. You know, there's always gonna be one person. The way I look at it at a team, because I played a lot of sports, played growing up, and I look at, I look at like sports as some people are really putting in making your offensive powerhouse. Like they're putting up the numbers right now, but like baseball, for example, it's a really long season. But then you have other guys that step up, and then you have guys that are like, they play their part, and everybody on this team plays their part in their own way. Especially with groups, like with work. I think like with work and how work is sometimes, there's so many personalities, and for someone to have my strong personality, who again has a lot of intensity, it takes a good group of people to really understand me, and then understand what, to look past some of the comments that I make, and that may not be productive to the team. So the one thing that I could lack a lot of times is humility, because I oftentimes learn it from these guys, and it's like it's about that though. We all remain that humble. So and each one of you. So I'm going to say it with each one of you, because with Garrett, Garrett sees my intensity, and he's probably the best one to. But I'd say actually all three of them understand me really well. But Garrett understands it to a point where he knows where I'm going with most things. He looks past like some of the comments, or even if I don't make sense, and I think that's really good, because I think someone can watch you work. If someone can watch you work and see like where you're wanting to go, and then help you get there on top of it with the, I might have so much passion, I don't articulate it well enough at times, and you always, man, like, it doesn't matter what it is, you understand where I need to go, and you understand like what, like, you to understand me well to that being, like, I think that's huge. So that's big. I also think Garrett has a lot of, he's very, he mirrors people really well. He watches what a lot of other, especially as we talk about streaming, he watches, observes, and sees what's successful and how to apply that, and what are the steps we can apply it, because those are things like that strategy it's going to be crucial to this team. So like I learned from that, because there's also times where it's like I don't know any of that. So it's like to have someone that is always willing to kind of look ahead into the ocean, as we have the boat. Mm-hmm. Like I think that's huge, and I mean, to me it's I know everybody on the team's got this ability. each one of us. We all have the ideas. It's just, we all learn from that, and I think that's huge. So
Yeah, thanks, man.
yeah,
Appreciate it.
and then I was gonna say, because I want to give you guys all credit, Spencer. Spencer's the one
Who's
of the.
that?
Yeah.
Oh, did I see your name too?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's okay.
God.
Cat's
My bad.
out of the bag.
It's okay.
Oh my
Look,
God. Oh my
this kind of
gosh.
shows that no one's perfect, right? And this is
Oh
how
my God. I
things
am
go.
far from
You
it,
also
man.
said Junto Club, but it's okay.
Oh damn!
So
I'm
it's
going left
okay.
and right.
But this is what it's about. It's about learning and stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean, people know my name anyways from back in the day streaming, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
My social security number's gone. So.
Yeah.
All right,
But
coach.
it's fine.
So for
Like
coach,
Bruce Wayne now. He and I finally have something in common with Bruce Wayne.
I gotta put like your names here so I remember that.
It's
So
okay.
for coach, I think coach is one of the guys that you're one of the few people I know where like I could come at you really hard at something, and then you'll like you take it in and then you come back and you actually work on like what's said to you. Like
Yeah.
there's not one. I had a meltdown at you like a long time ago where like I just told you straight out and like and I remember thinking, but it works with this too. If I come straight, I know if I come straight at you, like I don't have to be hard about it. You'll take in the information and you'll turn it around, and that takes a lot because you think a lot of people like in today's age where accountability isn't there. Like
Yeah.
kids and
It's
and
big
bunch-
maturity.
yeah, I feel like it's even with adults now. You're just like people are like take it so personal, but
Yeah.
you take it, you ingest it, and you change or you adjust. You make the adjustment, and the adjustment is everything that's needed for the team. And to be able to have someone that, because I have to learn from them because I take things very personal sometimes. Like if someone held me accountable or I said something wrong, I might take that really personal. I don't take that kind of info well. So getting checked is very hard for me to. So when I watch you do that, that's something I really want to mirror. I not only want to mirror that here, I want to mirror that in my life. Like being able to just kind of like, look at myself and accept it, move on and apply what, that good information. And I don't know, it's a trait I rarely meet people. Most people I know don't have it. So I just want to always, that's a mirror. That's what I want to mirror. And one thing I'll talk about growth because Nitemare talk. It is you. Yeah.
Got it.
So Nitemare. The one thing that I would say is he's been working like a horse this week on cutting and picking up certain things on our team. Picking up certain things on our team where it's just stepping in and learning the trades. But one of the things that he did that me personally knowing him for so long is you've always not been good with confrontation, but standing up to me has been one of the hardest things, in time. And he kind of called me and told me what he was thinking and wanted to see, and it's like that brings so much pride as a friend, but pride as also a partner, because if you think about everybody's got weakness, we all have something to the team that's kind of weak, like we lack, or I'm over intense or I'm overbearing, so that's a weakness, right, at a certain point. And I think being able to tell someone who could be overbearing or intense, hey, especially from a person that's very passive, I just think that's very, very good, and you did it in a very passive way, which is something else I could learn from because I'm not as passive. So I learned from all of you guys, and I've always learned from you guys in my and that's honestly why I have you guys around, is because I'm always constantly learning from each one of you. I may not say it, and I may not. You may think like he never does any of the things that he's saying right now, and that's a case. But like I try to apply it inch by inch in my life, and and that's no comment on inch by inch. But I saw Coach wanting to respond to that. So, but yeah. So that kind of wraps up that segment. We got two more for you guys tonight. I'm gonna hand it over to Goichi. I said right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't say his other name.
One more,
his
that's
alias.
called a witness.
And he's gonna start off with our what if segment and give a little rundown on it. So, Goichi.
Okay.
Get us started.
Thank you. So we have a segment called What If, and none of the guys here actually know what I'm going to propose for the What If question. So the What If question for me is, what if we were born into a world where we lived in a world where there was no franchises and everyone had the freedom to create their own business, their own home. And by that I mean I've always dreamed of a world where everything is unique to its own identity. So like, let's say you had a business, it's ran by your own family. And I come from descent of Japanese American, and let's say I wanted to do a spin of my own type of Japanese American type of food eatery, it would come through my family. But the other thing I always thought was, why can't we create our own businesses with themes revolved around it? So like, I have like a really cool Japanese theme restaurant. But besides just a Japanese themed restaurant, it goes deeper into that. Like, why can't you bring like actual like animals, or like why can't you have like a water slide inside your cafe? I just think that we confine ourselves into a structure where we have to follow the rules. We have to like have walls painted a certain way, or designs formatted a certain way. I remember growing up and seeing that a Simpsons home, and they auctioned it off, and I'm like, why can't you just create a home of your dream as well? Like, if you had $1 million to just blow away, why couldn't you create like a theme park type of vibe in your own home or in your own restaurant, and make it more fun, more energized, and bring a happier feeling? So if we lived what if we lived in a world with no restrictions, as far as there's no franchises and you're free to do whatever you'd like as far as your home and your business and your trade? So what I'll do is I'll pass the mic to Coach, and kind of let him express his own opinion on what if we lived in a world without franchises, without restrictions.
Well, I'm thoroughly honored to start this off for everybody here.
Like, I wish it
because, I'm like that kid in the back of the class that like starts pretending to write shit down because they don't want to get called on when they're like, "No, who knows this?" And I don't know the fucking answer. Yeah, they're like, "I don't know the fucking answer." So then all of a sudden you're like, well, if you make eye contact with the teacher, like they're gonna call on you. But then it turned into like the teacher just finds out who's trying to make the least amount of eye contact. I'd be like, "That's the fuck." They're like, "That's the kid I'm picking on." Like, that's the kid that's gonna get embarrassed because they don't know what's the capital of whatever state I'm asking about.
We stalled the whole time.
Yeah. So now that's over. Let's go to Nightmare after just like a 15-minute filler.
Filibuster.
What if
I think. Yeah. What if Coach didn't fall asleep on the couch here? Coach needs a nap.
It's like the Mr. Bean and Rat Race.
Yeah.
He just like passes out.
Just fall asleep. Key in the locker. I think that's like I think it's a pretty interesting like topic, because you think about like franchises that I think that we us as a group, but then like people in general, like we frequent and that we actually really like, or we're really big fans of. I mean, I know for me, like coming back to California over break and stuff, like the first thing that I did was my parents and we went and got In-N-Out for dinner. So it's like In-N-Out is almost exclusively West Coast, like California. They've got a couple in Texas, I think, now, but it's like that is a huge franchise. It's a family-owned franchise, and they've kind of held on to like a certain standard of that they really haven't like moved away from. Like, they kind of went and they've kept the same standard that like the 50s and 60s had, in terms of like food service, food prep, respect, and like the way they handle customers. Chick-fil-A is not obviously from the 50s, but like the way they say "my pleasure" for everything, like they have their own certain standard for stuff. So I think there's some that are franchises like that have made their own thing, which is interesting to think about. But
right? Like,
yeah, closed on Sundays. So it's like, even if you work full time, even if you work, over 40 hours, whatever, you're never working on a Sunday.
Sunday football.
Yeah, you're always there watching.
You never want Chick-fil-A more.
Oh no! You wake up on Sunday, you're like, where do I want?
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, and then you drive by and you're like, shit, they are closed. Yeah, but I mean, there's been like, I think there's at least been 2 or 3 times where I've driven to a Chick-fil-A and be like, wow, there's no line. And then I almost get to the drive-thru and I'm like, because it's a freaking Sunday, and I just like turn that wheel. I'm like, I'm just doing.
They have a camera of you, like it's like the stupid idiots.
A compilation of
yeah,
people
Sundays.
They're just waiting at the board.
The joy that dies in their face. They're just like. They're like still trying to talk to the intercom.
I wonder who's got the record for longest time waiting at the drive-through like microphone,
like
trying to order.
Like he's just stoned out of his mind, just like
They probably have it turned on to where they record like whatever you say. So
Yeah.
someone's just like, "Is anyone there?"
Yeah.
Just keep yelling it louder and louder at them.
Where's that nice guy outside?
How
Yeah.
long until they take the Lord's name in vain?
Right.
God damn it! It's Sunday.
But I do like that concept. I think that if there were like franchises and we had like this very specific, like obviously I'm not, this might be hard to believe, but I'm not Japanese American at all. I know it's yeah.
Close up. Yeah.
But yeah. Just to confirm. But like for my stuff, like I have a very strong like Germanic and French heritage, and I also have like strong Norwegian ties as my what's that? What's that?
You just have croissants.
Oh yeah, croissant.
Croissant.
Yeah, croissants and foie gras. Yeah. That's what I have on the daily.
Latte.
But
Latte.
it's like to do some of that stuff. Like I think it would be really interesting how everyone has like their own spin, and I do like actually seeing like places that do their own spin off of like their own heritage and culture, because why should everything be the same? Like why, like I know that everyone's got a culture and a heritage and like some celebrations or like rituals or whatever it has for everybody, but it's like, why does mine and yours and his and hers have to all be the exact same because we come from the same background? Like why can't we make something different? And I think that if we could do that, I do like the aspect of like how expanded creativity could get for people.
That's what I love
because
about
they don't have to
fusion,
work
right?
within a certain like bracket of things. Like you get outside that box, and the more you let people get outside that box and still let them, I guess, like be in the box, or like you get to put them in the box even though they're outside the box type of deal, if that makes sense. Like I think you get a lot more variety, and you don't get complacent as much because you're now working within somebody else's construct of what they see their culture or their heritage as, or even like whatever they want to do. Like even like the white dudes that do like sushi, and they're like, oh, I trained in like Japan for a decade. Yeah. And like you come in, you're like, holy crap, like this dude is like the whitest dude I've ever seen that's like a head sushi chef. But it's like they do their own like spin on stuff, and I think that's unique and that's awesome.
Yeah, fusion
because
is the best.
fusion stuff is great. I mean,
they don't live under the constructs, and you're just like, damn, who would have thought of fusing these two things? You know, like sometimes you find like there's a Peruvian and a Thai place that we went to one time.
Yeah,
I was like, what the f? Like, you know, like.
I mean, like I don't need like fusion stuff. Like I don't need like American and sushi. Like I don't need a sushi.
Damn, that sounds good.
Sushi hamburger or hamburger sushi. Like I don't need firecrackers on top of like a prawn head like on my dish or anything like that. I'm pretty easy. Yeah.
There's an episode of Kitchen Nightmares where Gordon Ramsay goes to a sushi place and orders sushi pizza, and he says the most disgusting thing.
Yeah, no thank you. I mean, hell, someone's probably whoever our viewers are probably gonna steal this, but you know, like I don't need stuff like that, but I do like the individuality, because like I don't want to go to 8 different sushi places and have the same Hawaiian roll or the same firecracker roll at eight
roll.
Yeah, I don't want. I mean, I also don't want to order something and get like crap, like because it's totally different. But I don't want it to be the exact same either. Like, you know, I go to different burger places or pizza places because the pizza or the burgers are different. Like there's a difference between McDonald's and In-N-Out. There's a difference between In-N-Out and Whataburger. So sorry for any Central people, but In-N-Out is way better than Whataburger. It doesn't even register on my radar. I've had it once. I was like, you know what? It's not that great. I mean, it's like nothing to write home about for me.
What's it like? I've never had it.
I mean, it tasted fine. It was great. I mean, I won't say great. Sorry, I don't want to say great. Giving it to a pros. No, what? Yeah, well, I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, shit. I was like, what did I just spend money on? But it's just like, I mean, like people are like, oh my god, it's the best thing since sliced bread. I'm like, it was a burger.
Isn't that a crazy saying? That's a crazy saying. I mean,
yeah, sliced bread.
Yeah.
Because like, how amazed were they when they fucking sliced bread? It's like, did like everyone's life just change? They're like, well, shit, we don't have to rip it anymore. But
we don't have to cut it ourselves.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting aspect, and I actually like that idea because I think that's when you breed creativity. Is when you let people don't have to like work out. But I want to hear more about like what Nightmare hears, because I'm all out of bad jokes. So
yeah, mine is. I've had a chance to think about it, I guess.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thanks, sir. Thanks, sir. Yeah. We're going to call you Filibuster.
Yeah. Seriously?
Yeah.
I got more.
I guess mine is.
Yeah, my feet are getting hard. Yeah.
I mean, mine is kind of like the flip side of that. Is like you wouldn't get that consistency. You'd have to, and if you find somewhere that that you really love, that's the only one.
Yeah.
Like you have to go to that place.
Yeah.
Good luck if you go out of town.
Yeah, if you go out of town, then what if I want that best burger? But again, there's the other side of the coin. Is what if you go out of town and find a great burger place, and then you leave, and then you have to just like write it down. Oh, if I go to Omaha, there's a great burger place.
Like in How I Met Your Mother, where he finds the world's best burger.
Really?
Yeah.
Or an Elf?
I remember where it's at.
Yeah. That's
No. Or an Elf, the world's best coffee.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah. I wonder what the legalities would be putting like a water slide in your
Yeah, so
maybe the like government and the lawyers ruined so many good ideas because it was such a liability to put a waterfall Casa Bonita.
Yeah.
Some kind of oh man, I just what do you think? Like if someone took you to court over your awesome waterfall, like how much would it you're done?
Yeah.
Like.
So the thought behind that kind of too is like that wouldn't even be an outcome. It's just more of like
what if it doesn't exist?
Yeah, what if that doesn't exist?
Yeah.
What if there is no rules?
I got so many in my head. But
then I really want to pass the mic.
Yeah. So he kind of like said it when you kind of said it with your house. So then I went and I thought about like what's Mind of Max. That would be my house, right? And you're so it's kind of like a mini exactly. There's some fun there's some fun stuff in here.
Watch
So
out, kids.
I don't think any of this stuff would be like legal. I think eventually we would be sued if it was in this world. But if I was to create it, it'd be kind of cool. So I would think about my mind, right? And I want every room to feel like every single room. Oh, that's right. I'm over here. I want every single room to feel a certain way of how I feel. Mm-hmm. So like I would want a room of anxiety where you're just sitting in there and you feel Max's anxiety, the smell. I even narrow it down to a smell where like when you smell it, it gives you anxiety. And when you hear it, it gives you anxiety, and that's one moment. And there's a part where I'm like intense, and when you guys see what I'm in, super intense, and it's a rush, and you're just like, and your adrenaline's kicking in, right? And that's a whole experience. And I'm thinking like for the intense one, it would be like a virtual reality room where all like, if you remember the movie Smart House for the kids movie, they made the room, the whole thing like a virtual room, like so you could be at the beach or you could be, and that's what that would be my intense room. Where like literally just like your mind's like going crazy, and people would ask like why the hell would you go in the anxiety room, but it's like if you were to go in my anxiety room, you might actually feel like better because you don't have the anxiety I have, right? Or like vice versa. Yeah, exactly. You can relate, and it brings some normalcy for you. And same with the intensity. Some people are super intense, and they're like, man, why is he intense? And if you're in my mind in that virtual room, you're gonna be like, man, this guy's a psycho. Like, you're going to be like, this guy's got a lot of problems. But you'll walk out thinking, maybe when I'm intense, like, I need to ease up or I need to... And so I feel like it would be that, but also the happy stuff, like what brings me happiness and smelling happy and, hearing happy, and like what brings that joy. Mm-hmm. And so I would make a whole house of that, or be a house, that'd but cool. It would just be an experience. And like, and if people, you're going through it and it might go bankrupt in the first week because it's like no one goes into that house, but
suicides have spiked.
Yeah.
Max house open.
Yeah, like a bunch of like there's one like next door is a crazy house. Yeah, it's like what but
it's connected by a hallway.
Yeah,
Netflix documentary.
Yeah, and I feel like for me, like that's what I thought about like the what if world. I'm like, man, that would be it. Like that's what if you brought that up, and I was like, my mind would be what I want to see people. I want people to see, smell, hear, all the senses, feel the feelings that I have, and then they feel that it could be peace, happiness, could be joy, it could be stress is another one, but also like I want every room like I always remember I go to Disneyland. And Disneyland did this, and Disneyland's really good with some certain stuff, like the little details. Like there's little details about Disneyland, and one thing that they did that I had gone with my girl and my aunt on a Small World, and I had not been on a Small World in probably like 10 years, at least 10 years, right? nobody at our age wants to go on Small World unless you have like a little kid, and even then you probably don't want to go.
You don't want to go.
Yeah,
so
it's like
you have to go.
Yeah.
So is that not normal if I want to go?
Yeah, I mean, there's something a little off about that. I want to know what your house feels like.
Remind me to call the
You're like,
FBI on Coach that he wants to go on Small.
He's like
Coach's World.
He's like, here we go, kids.
Yeah.
He's excited. He's just jacked.
Yeah.
Oh god.
So,
Okay, real quick. This is the most Southern California podcast right now because we've touched on In-N-Out and now Disney.
oh yeah, yeah. It's that's our
But that's kind
related.
of where I got the
Yeah.
inspiration from. I'll speak on that too later.
Yeah.
But there is inspiration behind why I generated that question.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I feel like when I think about, I'll finish this out and then we can kind of, I'll hand it off to you. One of the things that like I noticed about Disneyland, I thought it's like still the coolest thing because I don't know about you, if anyone's been at Disneyland, Disney World, no matter what part where you're from, you just remember when you're a kid and how much joy that brought you. Mm-hmm. Like it brought you so much joy, and as you get older, you're like that doesn't bring you joy as much. Yeah. You're like lines. People brings you anxiety. You're just like, I don't want to spend the money. I don't want to do. And maybe because maybe you were a kid and your parents paid for everything and you got to just be in that moment. Yeah. So with Disneyland, it's really rare that I find moments like that where I find moments where I'm like, whoa, like it kind of like puts me on a dime. And I'll say too recently, and I think that's. But I look at when I thought about What If, and like I was thinking like they're the ones that create that. They're one of the few places I can still kind of do that. Mm-hmm. But I thought about like what would my house would be like, and I would want the smell. And I said smell, right? That was, I don't know if that threw you guys off, like smell anxiety, but one big thing is like when we went into a Small World, every room that you went into is during the holidays had a smell in it. Interesting. And the smell, like it was weird. The smell was kind of pleasing. Like each smell, and but it's such a unique smell. It wasn't like, it's not like when you're going to the bathroom and you smell Lysol kind of smell and you're like, oh, it's masking something. It was more of a smell of like, whoa, this goes with this room. Like someone
to grandma's house for Christmas.
Yeah.
Smelling cookies as soon as you like come through the door.
That's exactly, and you're just sitting there. You're sitting there somewhere like,
cool.
Like for someone to think the smell, the sense, we're not covering the smell of the sense.
Yeah.
And they're also masking that nasty water smell that they have, because I used to think that. But I was like, man, like, that's such a part of us, is like that smell. How many things that were, especially with food or just anything, like even when you smell laundry, like good laundry, there's so much pride in that. So yeah, smell was a big, smell and hearing, I feel like is a senses we give up on.
I feel like that they got that idea from what is it, Soaring Over California? Like
yeah.
Everyone loves it. Everyone loves like the orange.
It hits you in the face.
Yeah. So like they probably were like, oh, we could incorporate that into our Christmas, like cinnamon sugar cookies and holly and like.
Do you imagine like the oranges, right? Take for instance, like our grandparents, right, grew up here, and if like our grandparents, parents too could be, but they saw the orange groves, so like for them that's a nostalgia. Like that smell, maybe, and I think about it. Maybe it didn't hit us, but maybe it hits other people. You know, like it could be. So
agriculture, smell cow shit.
They say.
Hopefully, you guys didn't hear that.
They pump that into.
That's gonna be a cut from Coach.
I was gonna say. Hold on. I was gonna say. Oh shoot! I had it. No, I lost it. Never mind. It's gone.
So real quick, the inspiration behind that what if question was back in high school. I took a MBA class, and we had a group project where we had to come up with a business, any type of unique business, and we had to create a business plan and a presentation and a model. And my group, it was interesting. I was the team leader, and I was assigned like 4 or 5 other team members. And during the middle of the project, one of the groups had an issue with one of their team members where he was causing a lot of conflict and issues on their team. And my team was doing phenomenal. We're grooving together, and everyone was pitching in, doing their part. And the teacher actually approached me and asked if I would be okay swapping out one of my team members for that other team member, because he saw a lot of hostility on the other team, and he felt like I would be able to figure out how to utilize this guy to his fullest potential and be an asset to our group and not fail the class. And I actually know his name first and last, and I'll never forget it. What was interesting was when we did have that guy join our group, he worked at KFC at the time. I said, look, we're at the final stages of the project. All I ask is that you show up on the final day where we're completing everything and you participate as much as you can. But the one thing I need you to do is bring KFC for the group. And that's exactly what he did. And guess what? We ended up winning the competition. There was other groups that did like hotels, cruise ships, and ours was Narnia Cafe. So what I said is, in order to save money, we would either partner up or rent out a space in downtown Disney. And during the promotion of like when Narnia came out, Narnia 2, we would do a Narnia Cafe, and the whole cafe would be unique in theme, almost like Rainforest Cafe, but next level on steroids, where like you enter. If you guys haven't seen Narnia, I'm sorry, but it's been out a long time. But the way you enter the cafe is through the wardrobe, and as soon as you enter that wardrobe, it's almost as if you entered a whole nother world. And there could be, who knows, there could be snow in there. We had a fireplace at one point, and then everything was themed to the movie. So you had like those truffles or whatever, Turkish delights, yeah. And like the waiters and waitresses would be themed to the characters as well. So we ended up doing a business plan like that, and ended up winning the group project and getting everyone an A. And so that kind of got me thinking of like, what if we lived in a world where we had the freedom to like just do whatever we want? Like for me, if I opened up a restaurant, like I would want to do something like Ninja Turtles. Like you come into my restaurant, you're in the sewer layer. And you come in, you can hang out. There's the Ninja Turtles there to do autographs, hang out with you, take pictures, do birthday parties. But also, like, you get that vibe of, like, I'm living my kid dream, or my kids are now living, like, their childhood, you know? And it's, like, it's a feel-good moment. Because I'm at this stage of my life where, like, I'm, you know, my wife and I are thinking of having kids, and it would be cool to relive an experience like that, like Ninja Turtles, like as a kid growing up, and also my kids get to live that childhood dream with me as well, and just have that feel good vibe experience. And I think that's what we need in the world is not putting restrictions on people, and being open to people's creativity. And I that's what I love about the internet is as long as they don't restrict us, we're open to keep on having that creativity and building that network outside of our confines. And that's what's really cool is like you can showcase to the world what you're capable of. And yeah, and that's really what generated the question for me. So.
And how good does a pizza look on during Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
Like how good is that pizza?
Exactly. And the thing is, you could always be playing the cartoons or the movies throughout the restaurant or something, you know.
What
and
if Chuck E. Cheese
so,
was like supposed to be Splinter?
Dude,
just like backfired.
dude,
like,
what if they just revamped Chuck E. Cheese altogether?
Just shifted over.
If it was, they did a terrible
Kitchen.
job.
Yeah.
I've always believed that Chuck E. Cheese was like owned by the cartels or something because like how has that place lasted so long?
Seriously. The front,
the dirty drug rat.
It's for children. It's child gambling. It's going out of business.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand it back to Beef here, and he's going to go ahead and get us introduced to the next segment.
Yeah, let's go.
I think that kind of does it. So the next segment's next segment's underrated stuff. Handed over to Nitemare. Really cool segment because I think this is gonna get you guys. Gonna get you guys thinking incredibly because the moment he told us about the segment, it made me think, but then it made me realize like. That made me think like how much is really underrated, and then also it makes me want to hear not only from this group here, but you guys at home, like what do you see as underrated? And you know, one of the things that we'll do is we'll put this on YouTube after, but also Twitter and post to Reddit, and just we want to hear your guys' feedback, like you know what is underrated. So I'll let Nitemare explain it, and he'll kick us off here.
All right, so. Underrated stuff it's what it is. It's what we think is an underrated or underappreciated parts of our lives. And I kind of how I envision this segment is we all have our own underrated thing. So the one that I've always thought is underrated since I was a kid is breast pockets on jackets. Like just being able to just like pop it right in. And you don't have it like on your legs. Yeah. It's so convenient, and the genesis of that is when the movie Elf, when Peter Dinklage comes in, like he's finally introduced as like the head writer, and they pay him in a big envelope of cash, and he just like stuffs it in his breast pocket, but it's like a big for him because he's a little person. It's a big envelope full of cash, and he just like jams it into his breast pocket. It's just
not an elf.
And I've always like ever since I saw that, I wanted a jacket with a breast pocket, and now if a jacket doesn't have a breast pocket, I don't
it's
get.
Not a jacket.
It's not. is what are you?
Just a glorified hoodie.
Thank you. So, see, Coach gets me.
I feel like you felt like the cool kid too. I had an independent jacket like that.
Mhm.
It had a pocket inside the jacket. I felt like the coolest kid ever.
Yeah, because it's just like
Yeah.
boom. Yeah, so I'm gonna pass it to Coach. That's my underrated thing. So we're gonna put him back on the spot.
Hope you had enough time to think.
Yeah, I hope Coach found something underrated here. I will second that. I think the breast pocket is awesome. I'm a big flannel wearer, so I don't. Well, I don't know. I don't know if anybody really makes that many flannels without with at least one breast pocket, but I prefer two, and I prefer the ones that are like the snaps instead of like an actual button. Just something about like that metal look on the outside that I think is like kind of nice. I mean, I do like button ones too. They have a time and place, but
I'll buy you some time.
yeah.
You wear flannel. Have you seen the jeans with the flannel inlays?
Oh, the flannel lining.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get emails about them all the time now that I moved to the Midwest. I've like gotten so many emails from like Duluth where it's just like, hey, have you tried like our fuzzy underwear like to like where you're living now? And be like, no, I think I'm just fine wearing two pair or wearing a pair of pants. I will say this might be a little bit different, but I don't know. I think I maybe have a slightly different perspective now that I have moved away. And it might be kind of like cliche and stuff, but I think something that is underrated for me that I think I've actually gone through since moving away for now is being grateful for, or like having the things that you grew up with, like growing up with whatever you have. I think a lot of people take for granted. It is very underrated. Like you don't know, like the whole saying of like you don't know what you have until you like don't have it anymore. Mm-hmm. Well, like not being able to see you guys on a weekly basis, like not being able to go to the beach when I want to, not being able to go see my grandparents when I want to. I think like a lot of people, that stuff is underrated to be able to have family nearby. And it's like, oh yeah, my family's here. Like, oh, we're getting together as a family. And like, I know a lot of people have like strong family values. I'm really close with all my cousins, especially now that we're older and we can like go to a brewery or we can go to a concert. We go to baseball games, hockey games and whatnot together. We work out together sometimes. Like I lifted, I mean, it wasn't much, but like I still got somewhat of a workout in with my cousin this week while I was back. And I think like stuff like that, like family time and like connections like that is kind of underrated, and you don't really appreciate them as much until you don't have them readily available anymore, or for the time being. Like when I go back to Iowa tomorrow or Sunday, I won't be able to just like drive down the street and come see you guys, or we can't go golfing next Friday like we did today. Lord knows, I don't know when the next time I'll be able to even golf like in Iowa is, like whenever that snow melts and the courses are open. So it's like I think like all this stuff was like really underrated because I just grew up here. Mm-hmm. So it's like I just kind of took it for granted / thought, well, it's always there for me. So like I can do it winter, summer, fall, spring, whatever I want. Mm-hmm. And half the time, we don't even like have like really distinguished seasons because sometimes it's just hot for 6 months, or we bitch about the weather for 6 months. But yeah, I think like some of that stuff is a little underrated in a lot of our books because we grew up here. People that aren't from California that move here, I think appreciate that stuff a lot more than some of us do, for sure. Especially when I tell people now, like all my athletes or coworkers or people I meet, I'm like, oh, I'm from California. Like, oh, like what part? I'm like, easiest for me, everyone knows Orange County because of the show, but I just say I just grew up down the street from Disneyland, and everyone's eyes like just get huge. Like, oh my God, you must have gone there all the time, like every day. Yeah, no, I'm like, no, because it was always right here. So like having stuff like this available, like I'm running into it now, like having airports available to us is super underrated because I have an airport that literally has like 5 flights out of it a day, and they only go to 1 or 2 airports, and it's really not all that easy and convenient. Mm-hmm. So like having 5 airports within an hour of us is like super underrated in my opinion now, because I'm going through it to where it's like I have all these places to fly out of. However, there's only one place remotely close to where I'm living now to fly into, and only like 2 airports fly into there. Otherwise, I'm going to have to, find some way to drive 2 hours in what direction to find it. So I feel like that for me is like pretty underrated at this point. And I don't think it really hit me until like this week or when I actually got out there and I realized how quiet it is. Like, you know, classes are changing and I'm like, I don't hear a damn thing out here. Whereas like going to school here at a state school, it's like even during class, it's noisy as hell in the quad and everything else like that. So, I think family ties, friends, grown up like proximity to a lot of stuff is like severely underrated for for Californians at least, because we kind of lose focus on like what that is. So we don't really value what we actually have all the time here. So yeah, that's mine. I want to hear what Goichi's got for our underrated.
All right. So for me, this is Goichi. One thing that's underrated for me, and it's kind of like a genre category because there's a lot of things that go under it, but clean public bathrooms. I think those are underrated. And when you have a clean public bathroom, the other thing I'd like to note is these are usually at fancy hotels or resorts, but having your own individual like stall room where like you can close the door and there's no cracks where you could have like drive-by peekers like look through your crack, or they look through the mirror and you kind of make eye contact as you're like on the toilet. That's the most awkward thing ever. So clean bathroom, your own personal stall is very appreciated. Nice toilet paper. And I think what's underrated is when they play music. I don't even care what kind of music, but as long as it's loud enough to hide any type of noise that either myself or my neighbors on the next stall make, I think that's appreciated, and having a nice smell. No matter what, like consistently, the public restroom has a nice smell. I think those are underrated because a lot of people will just throw a bathroom together, put the stalls up, and leave it as is. But if thought goes into it, I can appreciate that. And it makes me want to go back to that specific resort or hotel. So yeah, underrated is for me is like clean, really nice bathrooms.
I feel like adding to yours is I feel like when you go into I'm gonna add to his, but like when you go into like a restaurant and it's really clean, it paints a tale of that restaurant. Like I think if you go into like you in a restaurant and it's like you're just like, dude, this thing's destroyed. Imagine what their kitchen's like, because if their perception of their clients, their customers are like, hey, we don't care about where you're going to the bathroom, and we don't even want to make sure it's clean for you to feel that. I think a clean bathroom, it's almost like my wife can tell you, like, that's like my phobia. It's like I'm very like, my bathroom and my tub is super chemically cleaned all the time. But I think about like bringing it in public is like, there's nothing worse feeling when you actually you have an emergency and you're stuck with a certain situation. And and talk about underrated stuff is like our situations are much better than like the Middle East, where what I mean, like we're like we might see that and we're like, oh my god, but like it could be or there's no toilet paper. Oh my god, like that kind of scenario. So but yeah, I'll pass it back. Are you?
I'm pretty much done. That's pretty much what I was going to say. It's just underrated for me is the bathroom. Yeah, so even growing up in school, in public schools out here, I'll never forget in elementary school, our stalls, the kids were so bad that the kids ripped off the stall doors, so you had no privacy to go to the restroom. And then not only that, when the stalls would get bolted back on, they had to put chains on our toilet paper because kids were ripping off the toilet paper. So you'd go in there and not have TP. And when you dry your hands, it's blow dryers usually, like hot blow dryers or whatever. So like there was nothing to wipe with or anything like that. So I just think like, caring like that way goes a long way, especially even at public schools. You think about it, like that's in a sense bullying. Kids don't feel safe to go to the restroom. Like think about that. That's absurd to me. So, because growing up as a kid, I lived close enough, luckily at home, that if I had an emergency and I had to go to the restroom, I could just walk to my house and then walk back to school. But a lot of kids don't have that luxury, and it's just sad to see. Like I've grown up seeing that like type of bullying where kids have to go to the restroom and they don't have any choice, and there's no stall door, and it's like at school doesn't take care of something like that. I think it's definitely highly underrated. So I'll pass it back now to my buddy Beef.
So I'm gonna keep into the bathroom conversation.
Yes,
because once we went restroom, I was like
really quick, but. On your point about the restaurant bathrooms, like especially if their employees have to use that bathroom.
Oh, geez.
Not even like they don't have an employee bathroom. Like
Then you really start thinking.
Then you
Yeah,
really
and then because they'll walk in with their hands. Yeah, not
like,
cleaning. Yeah,
like, they wash their hands, but if they're washing it in a pigsty, does it really?
Yeah. I never even thought about that. Yeah, even deeper. Because we worked at Islands, and like that was a
nice bathroom.
Yeah, do you remember like that was a big thing for Islands?
welcome.
Yeah. Spencer licked it clean.
I'm sure he did.
Coach licked it clean.
Just put
Sorry.
ranch on
All
it.
right.
Ranch
Coach
it.
licked it. Reverse. Coach licked it clean.
Well, I had to clean. I worked at a
Identity is safe.
it was a flower shop / shaved ice shop, and my duty was to clean the bathroom. And my thing was, if I have to use this, I want it clean.
Yeah.
So if we have customers that have to use it for emergency, then I'm going to make it clean for them. So I would clean it every other hour.
The worst is like you go in, you clean it, and then you see this like guy walk in. He's on a mission.
He's like sweating.
And then like
I'm like,
you walk
got a
in, and there's just,
newspaper,
it
too.
literally looks like a psycho. Like how there's just blood everywhere, and you're just like, what the heck?
It's like daddy daycare. It's just like,
I have to wear like a hazmat suit. Yeah, that'd be the worst. So yeah, so I do appreciate that too. Is like when customers can come in and they actually don't mess everything up, and you almost treat your public space as like your home as well. So I think that goes hand in hand if you have a clean place. If you don't, everyone's just going to treat it like trash, because if your ownership treats it like trash, that's exactly what your customers are going to treat it like. So yeah.
All right. Back to the bathroom.
Okay, so we're on the bathroom, the restroom conversation. Yeah, I'm a known offender of the bathroom. Okay, so I got two because I kind of thought about this. First one is I don't know about everyone at home and everyone here, but the worst scenario for me, especially when it was friends' homes growing up, is because friends' homes when you're a kid, it's the parents, right? And especially if you didn't know that friend that well and you're kind of still getting to know them, and you have to go to the bathroom, and it's number two. The worst feeling is when that toilet is not good flow. You know what I'm saying? Like I brought this up early, and I'm like, I think about when there's a moment when the bathroom's got a solid, just sucks it down. I just sit there and I think like, thank God, because the worst is if it clogs and then you don't see a plunger and you're in desperation mode with your hand at that point, and you're just it's like
I've lived it.
yeah, it's like that is, and the worst feeling is to even after you tried to unclog it, and then you have to come out and be like, sorry,
Or like what took you so long?
yeah, and it's like, and your hands are like the worst part is you sprinkle all over the floor with the toilet water with your hands, and you're just like, why did this happen? And I've had a lot of nightmare scenarios of that. Like
I've lived it.
yeah, it's like, and I know this man right here. I definitely.
It's my worst. It was my worst fear, and it came true, and it was horrible. I'll tell that story once you're done.
Yeah, so I feel like for me, like when it's a strong flow, we really, no matter where you are, but I think specifically at a home, because you see it less with like homes, right? Homes have kind of risk here.
Most of the time it's a gamble. Most of the time it's a gamble when you go to a friend's home. You're like, do I do a test flush?
Yeah.
Or do I just gamble and go for it?
Yeah.
I never thought of a test flush.
But
Test flush, yeah.
The worst is like you do courtesy flush and then you flush it like 8 times and they're like, is something happening? Like that's the worst.
That's true too.
Yeah, that's like
so that's the thing too. Like you don't want to take the gamble of flushing it once and then flushing it again, and then maybe you need a third one.
Yeah,
because that's nerve wracking.
I wonder what your fucking diet is.
Or what if you roll the dice? Like, have you guys done this where you roll the dice and you're like, okay, well, I'm done. I've done my duty in there. Hopefully I didn't put too much toilet paper. Now let's try and flush. And then you hold it down, hoping that like you get more flow to get it down.
Like a double flush.
You're like trying to motivate you. You're like, come on, baby, you can do it. Like get it all in there. No remains left. So yeah.
Praying while it goes down.
Yeah, it really is a moment of truth. There's times where like it feels like you do it and you're just like, and then the worst feeling is when you almost. Like I personally from home, like you're just like, I know my toilet.
Yeah.
And then the worst is when you're like you feel betrayed.
Yeah.
Like there's like you're just like, this shouldn't come up. Like I know I know the right like roll amount. Yeah, it's like I've seen better. Like that's
I put more in you before.
I feel like that's like both of those. But I would say that's for sure. Before I move on to the next one, did you want to?
Yeah, no, keep going.
So the second thing for me is okay. I don't see these too often, but I think it's really underrated when I do, is when, and I see them more at Vegas for some reason, but when you guys are in a stall, so we're staying in the bathroom conversation, when you're in a bathroom stall and it goes all the way to the floor. I don't know
That's what I'm
what.
talking about.
Yeah. Oh, did
Oh,
you?
yeah, that's
Your own private room.
Yeah, your private. Yeah, like so. Like I think, and maybe okay. So maybe it's kind of piggybacking off of his too. It's like I feel like when I'm in that feeling, I feel so comfortable.
Yes.
Yeah, you're just like
Yes.
you're because like
You
when
can take your time.
the worst is when you see people's feet, and then like people like are trying to get inside, and then like when you're that's the worst. People are waiting on you, but like if you have it all closed up, you're like I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just like
You don't
this
know
is
what I'm
mine.
doing.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Take
like
my shoes and look for me in the
yeah,
restaurant.
yeah, like just yank it. Exactly. Yeah, they could be like, oh, you've got New Balances on, you're done.
They can't
Yeah,
see my
like-
thong down there.
Yeah.
I got another horror story with a private stall.
So for me, it's like when I'm in that moment, I also feel like it's so secluded where I'm in my own world in just that period of time. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's really underrated, and there's not enough of them in the world.
Yeah.
And if I could be pro any kind of movement, is obviously the triple and 4-ply toilet paper on every public restroom. Like our government money, if we're wasting it down this path, we should be spending all of it on 4-ply toilet paper in every government entity possible.
Why are we funding this?
Yeah, it's like
fingers
what-
better not be able to poke through.
Yeah,
okay?
1-ply is a dangerous game. Okay, this is like.
Have you guys done dude wipes? I've never
Yeah.
done dude wipes.
I
You
have.
What do
Yeah,
you like?
I
Do you
have,
like them?
and my brother has, my cousin.
What
has.
is a dude
It's
wipe?
a wipe for your ass.
I mean, I have wipes.
It's basically a wet wipe for your ass.
Oh,
Like,
is it? It's a baby
My wife
wipe.
got
Yeah,
one
I mean, yeah,
for-
baby
You're
wipe.
amazing.
Yeah,
They'll
it's a
change the
baby
world.
wipe for dudes' asses.
Well, this is the
I mean,
segment, right? We're doing
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's great. It's.
Dude,
It's.
please.
marketing here.
We'll
I
talk
mean-
about toilets all the time.
I mean, we had someone. We had like when I came home this week, there was someone sitting on top of the toilet, and I was just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna give that a go." And like, I'd gotten some from another company. I think it's a 556 Body Ops. Is like they had like a whole like package deal that you buy. It was like shampoo, conditioner, like a beard oil, like a pomade, and like a body loofah thingy majig. And then it had man wipes, I think is what they called them. And I thought at first that they were like body wipes, like. So like I like I went to go change.
under your
Yeah,
face?
I went to like
Oxycontin. It's like those oxy pads.
Yeah. I like went to go change between like jobs at the time when I got it, and I pulled it out. I'm like, this thing is not a regular wipe. I was like, shit, I'm gonna smell terrible when I go to work. I was like, but my ass is gonna be clean. And so I used that. I'm like, all right, let's do this.
Walking with stress.
Yeah, I walked in. I'm like, I feel clean. I am moisturized
It
back
changes
there.
your world.
Yeah, I am not gonna
changes your world.
There's no chafing between my cheeks today.
Yeah.
Maybe I need that. 'cause
Especially
have a
for
question.
men.
I don't know. I think they haven't made heavy duty dude wipes yet. So
Max power.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Two
hey,
extra-
you're ahead of the
What?
curve.
Hey,
They haven't caught up to
the
you
whole
yet.
stream's been warned. You're only supposed to apply one at a time, and you flush one at a time.
There
Okay.
you go.
So do not double apply. Like, especially if you don't have a strong toilet, only use one wipe at a time. Okay, and then do a flush, and then you can use another wipe if you need to. But yeah, hopefully you're not doing that much damage. But yeah, the wipes will change your world. If you don't have a bidet, the next best thing is dude wipes.
I'm a four. I don't have either. All right. So which horror story do you want? Do you want the backup toilet or do you want the individual stall toilet?
The backup toilet
sounds pretty
fun.
Backup toilet. Okay. First time I went to my buddy's cousin's house. I hung out with him a few times. He's really cool. First time I actually went to his house. Backstory, actually, I have an issue going somewhere that I've never gone before. I hold it. I won't go. I'll go to a public restroom before I go somewhere that
Yeah.
I've never, like, especially at a house. So unless there's an emergency. I had an emergency. So I went into their downstairs toilet. I do my business. I flush, and I'm waiting to see if there's a round two. And all of a sudden, I feel cold water on my balls. And I look down. The water is flowing over the toilet bowl, which I didn't know was. I thought they designed those for flooding, like to be able to not flood.
It's a big
But-
shit.
It kicked it back. So I jump up. There's
Catapult?
stuff flowing on the floor. I had to scoop. They
Was
did.
it on the second level?
No, it was first
Oh,
level.
that's
Thank
good,
God.
that's good, yeah.
It was the downstairs
I need
toilet.
to go down the stairs.
Yeah.
So I clean it up. They did have a plunger, so I got it out and I got it flushed, but it was messed up.
Damagers already done.
They knew that something was happening because I was cussing and swearing and
Oh,
fuck it, like that.
color
That-
commentating.
Yeah, it literally shit. This is what's happening.
For real.
Yeah. So we get it cleaned up, mopped up, Febrezed,
Mm-hmm.
whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Next day, my buddy's cousin texts me. The toilet kicked it back again while my dad was on the toilet.
No.
Yeah. So it all came back.
Wait,
so,
your stuff too?
Yeah. So what we
Oh
so
my
what
God.
I so what I
Dude, it's like
what-
revenge.
It
It's
is.
like,
So
yeah.
what I didn't know is that toilet was busted, and
Oh,
they
he just let you use it?
and he didn't know. He didn't know. It was-
Oh, okay. So you were the first.
I was the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, where'd you go?
So
Dude, that dad.
I
That's such a punishment.
yeah.
Do you imagine envisioning what he went through?
I don't.
That
I-
fear.
and
Like he's like, I don't even recognize
yeah,
that turd.
Yeah, he's a longshoreman too. Like he's a badass. Like he sees shit and he was pissed. Like
damn.
it kicked it back. I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
He's just like fat bastard from Austin Powers. Like, I don't remember eating any corn.
Dude, the vengeance of that poop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a long living poop. Like that poop was like, I'm not gonna take this.
Yeah.
Like I'm
It
gonna
was-
fight back.
It was
out.
hanging. It was hanging out in the U bend or
Yeah.
something.
That was a tough number 2.
Yeah.
Damn.
So that's horror story number 1.
That's a bad experience.
That makes this next one not seem not as bad, but it goes on to the individual stall. So at my last job, I worked at a dental laboratory, and we had individual stalls. We had a regular stall, and we had a handicap stall. Someone was locked the handicap stall or locked the regular stall. You know, they're doing their business. I went into the handicap. I take a nice, long, relaxed bowel movement. Be gentle about it, you know. And then I was like, all right, I'm done. Like 15 minutes later, I go to go out, and I go, and I was like, what? And the one guy that worked there that's in a wheelchair had been waiting for me. So I hit him with the door.
The guilt.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
And then you hit him with the
And
door.
he just like stares at you the rest
Yeah,
of the
he
day
just
at work.
he looked at me like, I was like, I'm sorry, and I just ran out of the fucking bathroom.
Oh
So
my god!
yeah, so
That's one of
I
those
have-
like that's quick guilt, you know.
yeah, so
It's
I
like
have
1 in a million.
yeah,
Dude.
I've got bathroom anxiety. So
Damn.
I'm gonna pass it back to Beef. See what he's got for us.
I think that kind of wraps us up for today. I don't know if anyone has kind of a last. This is again our first. This is our first first go around. A lot to learn. A lot of improper aliases that I kept saying. Seems like I was the only one that was messing that up. But we just want to thank you guys for joining us.
Thank
From
you,
from the group here. This is gonna be a fun ride. What's cool about it is we're not just a Friday thing. We've got some good gamers here, really with Nightmare Phil and Goichi. Really good gamers. They play Rust, COD, or Warfare, or whatever that's called. Modern Warfare. We've got Coach, who's great, certified in kinesiology from a master's degree level. He's at a college level teaching kids, and you guys can have the ability to kind of watch him. Once we can find the reception, but on my drive homes, we talk about hiking and hiking therapy and like what that means to me, and
My fishing therapy.
and we got a fisherman
Ooh,
here.
fishers,
yeah,
yeah.
we got some fishing. We'll have some fishing segments. So we do have a tennis one. I want to see if we can get tennis going. But we're definitely a group about, like I said, we're a group of a self-improvement. We all have, Junto means everything individually. We all have our own individual meaning of Junto, but you can too. We hope that when every session you're here, you feel like you're part of this group. Like every moment, you feel like it's that intimate feeling. So we really enjoyed your time today, and we look forward to seeing you guys next Friday. See you guys.